Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India News Hour, India's voice to the world. I'm Preeti Kaur. Coming up in the next 1 hour, India's External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar meets Russian President Vladimir Putin in Moscow. Russian President Putin invites India's Prime Minister Modi to visit Russia. France's Macron tells Israel's Netanyahu about the need for durable ceasefire as Israel launches heavy strikes across Hamas targets in Gaza. US announces $250 million military assistance package for Ukraine. And in sports, South Africa takes lead on the second day of the Test match against India after an unbeaten century from veteran Dean Elgar and 50 on debut from David Bedingham. India's External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar held talks with Russian President Vladimir Putin in Moscow on Wednesday. Discussions were held on a wide range of issues, including the Ukraine conflict. A detailed report ahead.
With an aim to take the Russia-India partnership to new heights, India's External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar held talks with Russian President Vladimir Putin in Moscow on Wednesday. During the meeting, President Putin invited India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi to visit Russia, saying it will give both countries an opportunity to discuss all current issues and also explore the scope of future bilateral ties.
We
will be glad to see our friend, Mr. Prime Minister Modi, in Russia. We will be able to discuss all current issues and talk about the prospects for the development of Russian-Indian relations. We have a lot of work to do, so I ask you to convey to him my best wishes and please pass on our invitation. We are waiting for him in Russia.
As soon as the meeting began, the Russian president highlighted Prime Minister Narendra Modi's willingness to do his best to resolve the Ukraine crisis peacefully.
We know the position of Prime Minister Modi and we have spoken about this more than once. His position regarding his attitude towards complex processes, including flashpoint areas and the situation in Ukraine.
In his remarks, External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar conveyed the warm greetings of Prime Minister Modi and handed over a personal message to President Putin.
First of all, please allow me to convey the personal greetings of Prime Minister Modi. He has also, through me, sent a letter to you, a letter expressing his thoughts about the state of our cooperation and the progress that we have made in recent days, and I will have the honor to give you the letter. Certainly, Mr. President, he looks forward to visiting Russia next year.
External Affairs Minister Jaishankar, who is on a 5-day visit to Russia, also had a comprehensive and a productive meeting with his Russian counterpart, Sergei Lavrov, on Wednesday. As strategic partners, discussions were also held on international situations and contemporary issues, including defense partnerships. With Anita Raj, Amit Mukherjee for DD India.
Let's get you an update on Israel-Hamas conflict. Now, Israel is expanding its ground offensive into Gaza as it warns the war with Hamas will last for months. Heavy fighting is also continuing in the south, in the city of Khan Yunis. Israeli military spokesman Daniel Hagari said on Wednesday that troops were working in several areas of Gaza, particularly around Al-Bureij and Khan Yunis, which it described as a terror base for Hamas.
In the south, we are working in several areas of Gaza. One is called Al-Bureij. It is an area in the central refugee camps. We are on the third day of attack there, and we are killing many terrorists and destroying terror infrastructure. The second is Khan Yunis in the southern strip, a central terror base of Hamas. There we have expanded our activity, and today we have added another brigade, and we are continuing to act there with the use of new military tactics above the ground and underneath.
Plumes of smoke rose over the border area between Israel and Lebanon on Wednesday as tensions between the two countries remained high. The border between the two nations has seen escalating exchanges of fire, mainly between the Israeli army and Hamas ally Hezbollah, since terror group Hamas attacked southern Israel on October 7th. Earlier, Israel said that Hezbollah fired anti-tank missiles at a church on the Lebanese border on Tuesday, wounding 9 Israeli soldiers and a civilian, after which it fired rockets, drawing retaliatory airstrikes. Israel's emergency minister Benny Gantz on Wednesday warned Lebanon to stop Hezbollah attacks on northern Israel. In a televised address, Gantz said that the situation on Israel's northern border must change as the time for diplomacy is running out.
The situation on Israel's northern border demands change. The stopwatch for a diplomatic solution is running out. If the world and the Lebanese government don't act in order to prevent the firing on Israel's northern residents and to distance Hezbollah from the border, the IDF will do it.
French President Emmanuel Macron, during a call with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, demanded a lasting ceasefire in Gaza. The French president told the Israeli premier of his deepest concerns about civilian deaths and the humanitarian emergency in Gaza. The French presidency, in a statement, said that France will work in the coming days in cooperation with Jordan to carry out humanitarian operations in Gaza. The U.S. government on Wednesday announced a $250 million military assistance package for Ukraine. The aid package, the final and the last of 2023, will include arms and equipment, including air defense munitions, anti-armor munitions, ammunition for high-mobility artillery rocket systems, and more than 15 million rounds of small arms ammunition. Congress has approved more than $110 billion for Ukraine since Russia's attack on Ukraine, but it has not approved any funds since Republicans took control of the House of Representatives from Democrats in January 2023. U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken is in Mexico to tackle a surge in illegal immigration. On Wednesday, America's top diplomat met President Andrés Manuel López Obrador in the Mexican capital at a time when border crossings into the U.S. are hitting record numbers, with often as many as 10,000 migrants reaching the southern border per day, as thousands more trek through Mexico towards the United States. Benji Haya gets us more details.
This caravan of migrants and asylum seekers, the latest of an increasingly common phenomenon, is still hundreds of kilometres from the US-Mexico border, but it's already causing a major political headache for the Biden administration. Antony Blinken and his delegation of Homeland Security officials have this week been asking their Mexican counterparts to help stem the flow of people from Central and South American nations travelling to the United States by, for example, controlling transport routes or providing incentives for them not to journey further north. The White House is also requesting lawmakers here approve a financial package that includes extra funding for border security. Yet that remains stalled in Congress. No negotiations are scheduled until the new year. Mexico's president says the US government should offer more support to Latin America instead of, in his words, putting up barriers and building walls. The migration issue, he added, is only going to intensify and could well be top of the agenda during the election campaign stateside in 2024. Now, illegal immigration has been a consistent vulnerability for President Joe Biden, who promised on his first day in office to, quote, restore humanity and American values to the immigration system, following his predecessor Donald Trump's policies designed to restrict arrivals. Trump, running for the Oval Office again, won the presidency in 2016 with a pledge to build a wall on the Mexican border, claiming rapists were being sent across it. He's recently faced criticism for saying that immigrants are poisoning the blood of the country and are coming from mental institutions. But he denies claims that his rhetoric mimics that used by the Nazis. Benji Haya in Washington, reporting for DD India.
New York City's Mayor Eric Adams on Wednesday announced an executive order requiring charter bus companies carrying migrants to give a 32-hour notice before arriving in the city. The announcement came during a press conference with Chicago and Denver mayor, who demanded more federal support for the influx of migrants into their cities. Adams said that if any buses found in violation of the rules could be impounded, and the bus companies will be charged with a Class B misdemeanor.
I'm announcing an executive order requiring charter buses transporting migrants, those often contracted by the state of Texas, to provide 32-hour notice in advance of their arrival into New York City. To make sure we have sufficient staffing, we are also requiring that these charter buses arrive only between 8:30 a.m. and 12 p.m., Monday through Friday, and to only drop off passengers at one spot unless directed otherwise by New York City Emergency Management.
After more Rohingya refugees arrived by boat in Indonesia on Wednesday, students staged a protest calling on the government to expel them. The protest came as police named more suspects in human trafficking. Since November, more than 1,500 Rohingyas have arrived in Sumatra, having fled violent attacks in Myanmar, and are now leaving camps in neighboring Bangladesh in search of better lives. At least 40 people have died following the explosion of a gas tanker in north-central Liberia. The fuel truck crashed late on Tuesday in Totota, which is a lower Bong County, and soon after exploded, killing and injuring many who had flocked to the scene. Dozens of people are still in hospital with serious burns, and the death toll could rise. According to the United Nations figures, poor road safety and weak infrastructure have made sub-Saharan Africa the world's deadliest region for crashes, with the fatality rate 3 times higher than the European average. We're heading for a short break on DD India News Hour, but after the break, in a major win for Trump, Michigan court rejects bid to bar him from 2024 ballot. Jacques Delors, father of European integration, dies at 96. And signaling a promising start to 2024, we tell you about the look of the New Year's Eve ball in New York.
Well, 2023 is about to end, but it gave us a lot of memories to cherish, especially in the world of cinema. World really went Natu Natu on the peppy beats of the famous movie RRR that got global recognition. Everything, Everywhere, All at Once that completely dominated the 95th Academy Awards. The remarkable career of Michael Douglas and the legend of Bollywood, Wahida Rahman, was bestowed with the most iconic Dada Saheb Phalke Lifetime Achievement Award.
Watch Ecos 2023 World Goes Natu Natu at these times on 28th of December only on DD India.
Meghalaya, the abode of clouds. A land so enchanting. It makes time stand still. With a distinctive and ethnic culture. And vibrant tribal folklore. Filled with the goodness of nature. Every day here is an adventure. Home to music, passion, and to hopes and ambitions. Welcome to the magical land of Meghalaya.
Welcome back after the break. You're watching DD India News Hour and I'm Preeti. We'll get you more international updates. The Michigan Supreme Court on Wednesday rejected a bid to remove Donald Trump from the 2024 ballot based on the U.S. Constitution's insurrectionist ban. Opponents wanted judges to force election officials to determine whether Trump's efforts to overturn his defeat in 2020 and the riot in Washington should make him ineligible to run again. But the court said in a brief ruling that it was not persuaded that the questions presented should be reviewed by this court ahead of the state's February 27th presidential primary. Later, after his victory in his fight against eligibility, Trump in a post said that the court strongly and rightfully denied what he called a desperate Democrat attempt to take him off the ballot in Michigan. Jacques Delors, a former European Commission president and founding father of the European Union's historic single currency project, died on Wednesday at the age of 98. Delors' daughter, Martine Aubry, said that her father died in his sleep at his home in Paris. Serving from 1985 to 1995, Delors served as the president of the European Commission, the EU executive, for 3 terms. Now, this is longer than any other holder of the office. During Delors' dynamic decade as the Commission chief, he helped create a single market, allowing free movement of people, goods and services within the bloc. Foreign Minister of the African nation of Zambia, Stanley Kakubo, resigned over irregularities in public dealings after growing public anger. The resignation comes after a video surfaced in which Kakubo was seen receiving cash from a Chinese businessman. Though he did not deny his presence in the video but rejected the claims of misappropriation in dealings, adding that he took the step in order to prevent the government from being affected by the controversy. The death toll from a series of attacks on villages in central Nigeria has climbed to almost 200. Local authorities had previously put the death toll at 163. Armed groups launched attacks between Saturday evening and Tuesday morning in Nigeria's Plateau State, a region plagued for several years by religious and ethnic tensions. There are fears the death toll could rise further as some people remain missing. Nigerian President Bola Ahmed Tinubu on Tuesday decreed the attacks and ordered security agencies to immediately move in, score every stretch of the zone and also apprehend the culprits. Plateau state government also called for united efforts to identify and apprehend those responsible for these heinous attacks. Kenyan police are investigating the suspected killings of 4 men on a Del Monte pineapple farm near Nairobi in Kenya, following a media report that security guards had killed and assaulted the trespassing villagers. Del Monte, a multinational food company, has alleged rampant organized crime in the region. After 5 days of searching, 2 bodies were found in the river. A truck driver in Palm Beach County in Florida was rescued from an accident after losing control of his 18-wheeler while hauling scrap metal. The driver, who was transported to a local hospital with no serious injuries, gestured to the sky in gratitude after being rescued. The incident shut down a part of the Florida Turnpike. All right, let's get to weather-related updates now. At least 40 people have died in Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo due to heavy downpour causing floods and landslides. Residents were digging through mud to find bodies, with at least 20 deaths in Bukavu and 20 more in Burene village. Poor urban planning and weak infrastructure make hardscrabble communities more vulnerable to extreme rainfall, which is becoming more intense and frequent in Africa due to warming temperatures. UN climate experts warn of increased vulnerability in these communities. Storm Gerrit caused snow, severe winds and a lot of rain in Scotland. As a result, residences were flooded and transportation was impacted. A seriously flooded road was captured on camera in the Scottish hamlet of Cupa. The longest route in Scotland, the A9, has also been affected by the terrible weather, resulting in standstills and closures in some areas. To mark special occasions, Britain's Royal Mint has unveiled new British coins for 2024. Coins have all been created to mark the 200-year anniversaries of both the National Gallery in London and the Royal National Lifeboat Institution, as well as 150 years since the birth of former British Prime Minister Winston Churchill. A coin celebrating Team GB and Paralympics GB also marks the upcoming 2024 Olympic Games, which are set to take place in Paris. Let's take a look at other stories making it to the headlines from across the world. Grammy winner, Colombian singer Shakira has been immortalized in a bronze statue in her home city of Barranquilla in Colombia. The 6.5-meter sculpture created by artist Gino Marquez shows Shakira belly dancing with her arms overhead. NASA's Valkyrie, a 6 feet 2 inches tall, 300-pound humanoid robot, is set to play a significant role on Earth and beyond. Engineers believe that with the right software, humanoid robots can function similarly to humans, using the same tools, equipment, and maneuvering methods. A private company has established a bakery in Afghanistan's Kandahar, which is run by women only. Officials from the company say they have created jobs for 20 women who are the only breadwinners of their family and are hoping to increase this number. Women have been particularly affected in the past 2 years amid the ongoing humanitarian crisis in the country. Green sea turtles Lely and Gucci were released back into the Atlantic Ocean after recovering from fibro papillomatosis and cariospora. Lely had anemia and underwent multiple surgeries. Gucci, named after their arrival, was found with a hook in esophagus and was treated.
I wasn't there when they were born, though. No. Depending on timing.
Nepal's Tusker Festival, Hathi Mahotsav, features caparisoned elephants in a beautiful contest. The event, held in Sauraha, attracts hundreds of visitors. Judges assess cleanliness, discipline, obedience, decorations, and more. The Chitwan Elephant Festival returns after 3-year hiatus due to the pandemic. The event raises awareness about elephants. The New Year's Eve ball, created in collaboration with Fontainebleau, has been presented with a bow tie pattern, signaling a promising start to 2024. On New Year's Eve in New York, the ball will descend from 1 Times Square with illuminated bow ties.
Good thing I got a hard hat on.
I'm sorry.
The New York Times has filed a lawsuit against OpenAI and Microsoft on claims of copyright infringement. The newspaper claims its articles were used to train artificial intelligence programs. William Denslow gets us details from New York.
According to reports, the New York Times held talks earlier this year with Microsoft and OpenAI to try and find an amicable resolution to this dispute. Ultimately, that wasn't proven to be successful, the New York Times moving forward with a lawsuit that's been filed in Manhattan's Federal District Court. The newspaper claims that the two tech firms created products that are taking audiences away from the newspaper. It also alleges that millions of New York Times articles have been used by the tech firms to train automated chatbots. OpenAI claims that the use of articles is protected under fair use. According to investors, OpenAI, the creator of ChatGPT, is worth over $80 billion. Microsoft, for its part, has invested $13 billion into the AI tech company. Now, this is the first time that a major media company has filed a lawsuit of this kind, but isn't the first time that some people have filed lawsuits with regard to the use of intellectual property and artificial intelligence. A number of authors, as well as comedian Sarah Silverman, have filed lawsuits against AI companies because of the use of their intellectual property, they claim, in the training of artificial intelligence. Now, according to some analysts, these kind of disputes, because this technology is just so new, could wind up being fought in the US Supreme Court. This lawsuit filed by the New York Times doesn't specify how much they're seeking from these tech giants, but according to the lawsuit, the New York Times is seeking billions of dollars in damages. William Denslow in New York, reporting for DD India.
A short break ahead, but still to come on this edition of DD India News Hour. AIMS of Delhi issues guidelines for suspected COVID cases following the sudden surge in the country. A tragic bus accident in Madhya Pradesh came heavy on many. Ex-gratia announced for the deceased. Amidst the excitement, Ayodhya railway station renamed. We tell you the details ahead.
Well, 2023 is about to end, but it gave us a lot of memories to cherish, especially in the world of cinema. World really went Natu Natu on the peppy beats of the famous movie RRR that got global recognition. Everything, Everywhere, All at Once that completely dominated the 95th Academy Awards. The remarkable career of Michael Douglas and the legend of Bollywood, Waheeda Rehman, was bestowed with the most iconic Dada Saheb Phalke Lifetime Achievement Award.
Watch ECOS 2023 World Goes Natu Natu at these times on 28th of December only on DD India.
गर फिरदौस बर्रुए ज़मी अस्त हमी अस्तो हमी अस्तो हमी अस्त Jammu and Kashmir, nature's finest works. A land of verdant valleys, pristine lakes, striking autumns, unforgettable majestic beauty. A place of unwavering devotion, wholehearted smiles, and warm hospitality. World famous for its exquisite artistry. Leader in diverse agricultural products. Heartland of winter sports. Jammu and Kashmir is vibrant, diverse, and Ambitious. Future-focused. Full of life. Welcome to Heaven on Earth.
Welcome back after the break. You're watching DD India News Hour. Time now to get you a quick recap of the top stories once again. India's External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar meets Russian President Vladimir Putin in Moscow. Russian President Putin invites India's Prime Minister Modi to visit Russia. France's Macron tells Israel's Netanyahu about the need for durable ceasefire as Israel launches heavy strikes across Hamas targets in Gaza. US announces $250 million military assistance package for Ukraine. And in sports, South Africa takes the lead on the second day of Test match against India after an unbeaten century from veteran Dean Elgar and 50 on debut from David Bedingham. India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi will be chairing the third National Conference of Chief Secretaries in the national capital. Driven by the vision of the Prime Minister of putting the principle of cooperative federalism in action, this year, the National Conference of Chief Secretaries will be held from 27th to 29th December. The three-day conference will witness participation of more than 200 representatives and senior officials. It will lay the ground for collaborative action for achieving better quality of life for both rural and urban population by strengthening the delivery mechanisms of government interventions. The key focus of the National Conference of Chief Secretaries this year will be ease of living. The conference will emphasize on the evolution and implementation of a common development agenda and blueprint for cohesive action in partnership with the states. In a tragic accident, at least 12 passengers were killed and 14 were injured after a bus collided with a truck and caught fire in the central Indian state of Madhya Pradesh. The injured have been admitted to the nearest hospital and are undergoing treatment. Meanwhile, the Chief Minister of State announced an ex gratia of Rs 400,000 each to the kin of the deceased and Rs 50,000 each for the injured. He also ordered a probe into the incident. The police have registered a case and are investigating the accident. Let's get to weather update from the national capital now. Since early morning, visibility in Delhi has dropped to almost zero. Over hundreds of flights have been delayed and diverted. Trains are also running late by more than 5 to 7 hours. IMD has issued advisory to take caution while driving. The situation is likely to improve after 11 a.m. DD India correspondent Dibyendu Mondal joins us to get us more. Dibyendu, yesterday the dense fog grabbed headlines all across the country. Let us hear from you. How has the morning begun today?
Well, good morning, Preeti. Today's morning seems a little different from yesterday's because, yesterday it was the situation was very bad. But today, since early morning at about 7:30, the fog started to settle down, and as you can also see behind me, the visibility is slowly improving. The flight delays have gone down, but let me also tell our viewers that last night the visibility in Delhi dropped to almost zero. Almost all incoming flights and outgoing flights from Delhi were either delayed or diverted. Many flights had been diverted to Jaipur, Ahmedabad, Chandigarh, and other nearby airports, because simply the flights could not land, and there was only one Cat 3B operational runway at the Delhi airport, which could only land a small number of flights. But however, today the situation seems to be better than what it was yesterday. However, the Met Department has issued warnings for drivers who are driving on the roads to stay cautious, especially in the early hours and in the late night hours, because that is when the fog situation increases. So also the trains across that has been coming in Delhi through the regions of Uttar Pradesh and Punjab and Haryana are also getting delayed because dense fog is also being reported from these neighboring states of Delhi NCR. The train delays that we hear is somewhere between 5 to 9 hours, and many have also been delayed for more than 12 hours. So the situation, like every year in winter, is similar when the fog hits the Delhi NCR region. But however, the Met Department says that after about 11 to 11:30 a.m., when the sun rises, the fog would settle down and the situation could improve further.
All right, the situation is expected to improve further after around 11 a.m. But Dibyendu, how has the Met Department predicted weather in the next few days?
Well, for the next 3 days, the Met Department has issued a warning to all traveling in and out of Delhi NCR region to stay cautious about their journey. They have also asked to avoid road journeys, long road journeys, especially through highways in the NCR region, and also to neighboring states of Rajasthan, Haryana, and Punjab, and also Uttar Pradesh, where the fog situation could remain from very dense to dense fog in the late night hours and in the early morning hours. But also, there are several the airline companies that have issued a statement saying that passengers traveling in and out of Delhi whose flights have been affected by fog would get a 100% refund on their flight tickets if their flight is affected by fog. So. These companies are taking measures to ensure that the passengers face less inconvenience. The Delhi airport is also putting out hourly update on their Twitter handle for passengers to understand better as to what the status at the airport is like. Also, the train, even the Ministry of Railways have been issuing statements saying that there could be further delays in the trains running in this particular region because of the fog. So the Met Department says that it will take another 3 days for the fog situation to improve.
All right, Dibyendu, we leave it here. Thank you for joining in with those details. And let's turn focus to other updates with the once-in-a-lifetime event. The consecration ceremony of Ram Temple in Ayodhya is scheduled on January 22nd, and it is approaching closer. The excitement of people is rising higher with each passing day. Indian Railways too has chipped in to do something for Ram Lalla and Ayodhya. The Ayodhya railway station has been given a huge makeover and has been renamed as Ayodhya Dham Junction. Another much appreciated change, it will be inaugurated on 30th December by Prime Minister Narendra Modi along with Maryada Purushottam Shri Ram International Airport. And as we told you, the much awaited Ram Temple in Ayodhya is all set to welcome Ram Lalla on January 22nd, with every state chipping in to devote something special in honor of Lord Ram and the special day. Following the trend, Tamil Nadu is sending 42 large bells that will adorn the Ram Temple. Meticulously prepared by skilled artisans from the Undal Moulding Works of Namakkal district, weighing a total of 1,250 kilograms and individually weighing between 2 to 2.5 tons, these bells are on their way to Ayodhya from Bengaluru after a special puja ceremony. Chief Minister of the North Indian state of Uttar Pradesh, Yogi Adityanath, is scheduled to visit Ayodhya on Thursday to take stock of preparations and other arrangements ahead of Prime Minister Narendra Modi's arrival on December 30th for inauguration of Maryada Purushottam Shri Ram International Airport and Ayodhya Dham Junction. Chief Minister Yogi will also hold a review meeting with the officials regarding Prime Minister Modi's arrival. Let's take a look at other stories making it to the headlines from across India. The All India Institute of Medical Sciences, that is AIIMS in Delhi, has issued guidelines for COVID suspected or positive cases that will be reported at hospitals following the sudden surge in the cases of COVID in the country. As per the policy on COVID testing, testing will be done for patients with severe acute respiratory infection like symptoms and include acute respiratory infection, persistent fever with cough, and onset within last 10 days. To support the farmers, India's Cabinet Committee on Economic Affairs approved minimum support price for copra, which is the dried white flesh of the coconut from which coconut oil is extracted for 2024 season. The MSP for 2024 season is an increase of 300 rupees per quintal for milling copra and 250 rupees per quintal for the ball copra over the previous season. India's National Metro Rail Corporation on Wednesday approved the detailed project report for the proposed Sector 142 to Botanical Garden Metro Station in Delhi's National Capital Region. The project will provide direct connectivity to Delhi Airport's Terminal 1 through Magenta line of Delhi Metro. The second arm of the Aqua line is likely to be ready in 36 months. As India is all set to commemorate its 75th Republic Day celebration, amid the chilling cold weather in Delhi, the Delhi police personnel were seen doing rehearsal for the parade. In India, the Republic Day is celebrated every year to honor the Constitution as it came into force on this day. The Republic Day celebrations include a traditional march past at Kartavya Path, comprising a grand parade by contingents of the armed forces and paramilitary forces. We're heading for a short break, but still to come on this edition of DD India News Hour. Good news for Apple as it resumes sale of its latest smartwatch in US as the ban over a patent row was lifted. An Indian women's cricket team faces Australia in the first one-day international match in Mumbai.
Well, 2023 is about to end, but it gave us a lot of memories to cherish, especially in the world of cinema. World really went Natu Natu on the peppy beats of the famous movie RRR that got global recognition. Everything, Everywhere, All at Once that completely dominated the 95th Academy Awards. The remarkable career of Michael Douglas and the legend of Bollywood, Waheeda Rehman, was bestowed with the most iconic Dada Saheb Phalke Lifetime Achievement Award.
Watch ECOS 2023 World Goes Natu Natu at these times on 28th of December only on DD India.
Amidst the sacred sites, green sanctuaries and hidden valleys, discover a new you in Uttarakhand. Filled with exotic animals, sweeping landscapes, and the rarest of flowers. Glimpse an unexplored world. Known as Dev Bhumi, or the land of gods, spirituality is woven into the fabric of this region. Renowned as the yoga capital of the world, Uttarakhand is a complete experience for the body and soul. Coupled with panoramic vistas, towering peaks and snow-capped summits, its hill stations are exciting hubs for adventure. With a surge in tourism, plus emergence of industries, Uttarakhand has turned into an epitome of development. Uttarakhand will embrace you with the warmth of its people, lively energy and colourful festivals, dances and attires. Welcome to the magically serene and captivating land of Uttarakhand.
Welcome back after the break. Let's get you updates from the world of business now. Apple's latest smartwatch can resume the sales in the US after the appeals court paused a previous ban on the imports. Apple Inc. said that the most advanced Apple Watch series and Apple Watch Ultra 2 were available at US stores on Wednesday and can be purchased online starting from Thursday noon. Earlier, sales of Apple's latest smartwatches had been halted in the US over a patent row. US's trade body had barred imports and sale of Apple Watches with technology for reading blood oxygen levels. Device maker Masimo had accused Apple of poaching its staff and technology. However, the iPhone maker made an emergency request to the US Court of Appeals, which proved successful in getting the ban lifted. Let's get to action from the markets now. Asian equities started on low key on Thursday, even as the US markets moved closer to new highs in anticipation of rate cut by the Federal Reserve. Japan's Nikkei fell by 0.59%, while the broader Topix index was down by 0.3%. South Korea's Kospi showed a marginal gain of 0.24% during the opening hours. In the US, Dow Jones rose by 0.3% and the S&P 500 by 0.14%, and the Nasdaq composite by 0.16%. Crude oil prices dropped almost 2% amid signs of a U.S. stockpile build and weak technical indicators. The West Texas Intermediate, or the WTI, traded below $74, while Brent crude remained under $80 per barrel. Turkey's monthly minimum wage will be 17,002 Turkish lira or $578 in 2024, marking a 49% increase from the level determined in July and a 100% hike from January. Turkey's annual inflation rate edged past up to 61.98% in November, its highest level this year, but just shy of expectations, signaling that an aggressive rate hiking cycle may be beginning to cool demand. Inflation soared after a currency crisis at the end of 2021 and touched a 24-year peak of 85.51% in October last year. This year, the lira has so far lost some 35% of its value, compounding the cost of living crisis for the Turks. India's public sector bank, State Bank of India, raised interest rates on fixed deposits by up to 0.5% across all the deposits. For short-term deposits between 7 days to 45 days, the interest rate has been increased by 50 basis points from 3% to 3.5% now. The bank's move to raise interest rates on deposits below 20 million rupees is likely to be followed by other lenders as well. A fixed deposit is an investment instrument where an amount is deposited with banks for a set period and at a fixed rate of interest. Now, these changes in interest rates by State Bank of India aim to provide better returns to depositors on their FDs. Let's get to sports updates now. You're watching DD India News Hour. In cricket, an unbeaten century from veteran Dean Elgar and 50 on debut from David Bedingham allowed South Africa to take an 11-run lead with 5 wickets in hand over India when bad light ended play on the second day of the first test at Centurion. The 36-year-old Elgar played one of the best innings of his long career as he scored an emotive 140 not out to help the hosts to 256 for 5 in reply to India's first innings total of 245. He will resume on Thursday with Marco Jansen, who has 3, with South Africa seeking to build a substantive lead. Elgar played some unusually flamboyant front foot strokes in a chanceless innings against a fearsome attack on a track set up for the seamers. He brought up his ton in 140 balls and featured in 2 important partnerships. First, 93 runs for the second wicket with Tony Tony De Zorzi, and then 131 with Bedingham for the 4th wicket. The 29-year-old Bedingham looked assured and confident on debut as he scored 56 before being bowled by Mohammad Siraj, who finished the day with figures of 2 for 63. Jasprit Bumrah also took 2 wickets, squaring up De Zorzi for 28 and forcing a thick edge to slip past and then bowling Keegan Peterson for 2. The Indian women's cricket team faces Australia in the first one-day international match in Mumbai on Thursday. The Indian team, under the captaincy of Harmanpreet Kaur, will look to take the lead in the 3-match series. The next 2 ODIs will be played on December 30th and January 2nd. The action will then shift to Navi Mumbai, which will host the 3 T20 internationals on 5th, 7th and 9th January, respectively. Australian team, headed by Eliza Healy, boasts a formidable lineup, including Elise Perry, Ashley Gardner and Jess Jonathan. Australia women have consistently outperformed India women in ODIs, winning 40 out of their 50 encounters. The women in blue registered an 8-wicket win on Saturday to clinch their first ever Test win against Australia. Carlos Alcaraz came back from a set down to beat world number 1 Novak Djokovic 4-6, 6-4, 6-4 in a hard-fought exhibition match in Riyadh. Alcaraz started strong by breaking the Serb's serve in the opening game. However, Djokovic answered back with 2 breaks of his own to take the opening set 6-4. The Spaniard then started the second set by breaking Djokovic once again. He then held his serve to secure the second set 6-4 to force a deciding third set. The third set was an epic back-and-forth battle, with Alcaraz getting a break in the third game only to see Djokovic level once again in the 6th. A string of errors by Djokovic allowed the world number 2 to take the upper hand back when he secured the deciding break to go up 5-4. The match is a preview to January's Australia Open as the world's top 2 players get into gear for the 2024 season.
He's one of the leaders of the sport today, and definitely he's going to carry this game in the future years to come. In the next 10-15 years, we're going to see a lot of him. So tennis is in good hands.
As you said, I grew up watching him winning the big tournaments, and I always dream about being in this position, playing against him face to face, and I'm really happy to be able to do that. And hopefully keep going, as I said many times, and himself said as well, he seems like he's 20, so we are gonna set the record more than once, so it's amazing.
Manchester City climbed back into the Premier League's top 4 as second-half goals by Phil Foden, Julian Alvarez and Bernardo Silva sealed a comeback 3-1 victory at Everton. Everton took the lead against the run of play through Jack Harrison's close-range finish in the 29th minute, but Foden drilled in a superb low shot after 53 minutes, and Alvarez converted a penalty after a handball by Amadou Onana. Silva wrapped up the points 4 minutes from time with a sublime finish after a mistake by Everton keeper Jordan Pickford. Champion City moved above Tottenham Hotspur into 4th place with 37 points from 18 games, 5 behind leaders Liverpool, having played a game less. In other matches, an 89th minute penalty from substitute Noni Madueke earned Chelsea a hard-fought 2-1 home victory over Crystal Palace. Wong Hee-chan scored twice to lead Wolverhampton Wanderers to a 4-1 win over Brentford in an end-to-end mid-table clash that featured 4 goals in the opening half hour. Former World Rapid champion Koneru Ampi stayed in contention for the Women's World Rapid Chess Championship by scoring 3.5 points from 4 rounds for a tally of 6.5 from 8 rounds and shared the second spot at Samarkand. With 3 rounds to go, the 2019 champion was in company of China's Zhao Mo and within half a point of the surprise Russian leader Anastasia Bodnaruk seeded 51. In the opening category, where Magnus Carlsen, Vladislav Fedosiv and Yu Yangi led at 7 points, Bharat Subramaniam, Arjun Ergaizi and Vidit Gujarati were among the 13 players, sharing the fourth spot at 6.5 points. Bharat continued his impressive run following his unbeaten run on first day. The youngster defeated senior teammates Sandipan Chanda, who lost to Yu Yangvi, drew with R. Pragananda and defeated Italy's Sabino Brunello. Strangely, Arjun played with all three second-day leads. He drew Yu Yangvi and Carlsen but lost to Fedoseev before beating Armenia's Robert Hovhannisson. All right, that's it in this edition of DD India News Hour. But let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. You can connect with us on Facebook, X and also Instagram. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Preeti Kaur signing off, and from all of us here in Delhi, thanks for watching DD India News Hour.